Yo, GM, what's good, AFM community? It's your boy 0xRapture. Let me know in the comments if you guys can hear me, if I need to turn it up, or if everything sounds loud and clear. How's everyone doing today? When stream, Rap? When stream? I do apologize that there was no stream last week. It was a bit of a busy one, but we're here this morning. Let's take a look through the chat really quick, see what we've got. Got my buddy Moonar, GM. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Sam says GM, Sam. Moses, GM. Danny P, GM. Jaguar Cat, GM. In the mood for ambiance. What's up, boss? GM, everyone. GM AFM. Thank you so much for being here. It's always wonderful to see so many familiar faces show up to the streams. Oh, I see a new face, although I do recognize you from the AFM TG group. CS says, yo. Oh, okay, so this is Cobalt. GM, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. Now I can put a name to the anonymous YouTube face. Another member of our AFM TG group. Holy tits, ai16z. Got my eyes bugging over that one. AI is coming to take over every single part of our lives, apparently. Just got my coffee. Hermit, Mr. Genghis, GM. Mason, GM, good to see you, buddy. We got our good friend Kimberly in the house. GM, Kim, thank you so much for being here. Everyone says things sound good. Moses says he's hungry and good. Feels like a good week to be hungry. Things are doing all right. The last little while has been pretty crazy. Trenches have been hot. Market's been hot. Prince says GM, buddy. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate you in the AFM group. It's good to see you here. We got Anon VPN. Sticking with the cypherpunk crypto ethos. Being an Anon behind a VPN, highly recommended to everyone participating in the crypto markets that you do use a VPN. And Mr. Power Naps, my good buddy, says GM. How's everybody doing today? We got 19 people showing up so far. That feels pretty good. It feels like that we've hit that's sort of like our steady benchmark that we've been hitting around lately. Is about 20 people showing up for the live streams, and then more people watch them in the recordings. Reminder that all of these live streams are available in perpetuity on the internet if you go to our YouTube channel under the live tab. Okay, let's just get some of the housekeeping out of the way. Reminder to like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoy what I'm doing here. This is the Daily Edge presents Astrology for Men with 0xRapture. I am 0xRapture, and I will chart any shitcoin with a pulse, provided it has a little bit of chart history that I can work with, a little bit of volume, and we got something to work with. And don't forget, if you're not already, go to thedailyedge.com/subscribe. This show is brought to you by The Daily Edge. We are your daily newsletter delivered straight to your inbox with a whole bunch of actionable intel, insights, and information written by the one and only, the legendary on-chain wizard, good friend of mine. And The Daily Edge is a 24-hour look back at the market and what's been happening in terms of attention and focus, where capital is flowing, what holdings are looking like. And that is a companion to our ChainEDGE data analytics platform, ChainEDGE.io. All links are available in the description below. We are also brought to you by ChainEDGE. How's everybody? Market's been busy, and I do apologize that we missed the stream last week. It was my intention to put one out over the weekend. but it was super busy, and I also didn't get a lot of sleep throughout it. So I had to get caught up on some of that, and I wasn't sure that I would be able to give my all to our typical 2 to 3 hour stream length on minimal sleep. But I'm well rested now. We've had some interesting developments happen in the market, which we're going to get to. So I think what we will do is we'll kickstart it with how we usually do. Let me get rid of this. How we usually do with taking a look at the majors just really quickly. I know we're not here for majors, but I do like to take a quick peek to see how things are doing so we can get an understanding of the market. Let me pull that up, go big screen on you. What do we have going on? So BTC has been doing pretty well. I do think at the moment we are into an area of high time frame supply. We've had a large run up from just below 60K, 58, 59K, all the way up to just under 70K. And now we're consolidating here. I do think we're into some supply here. I think ultimately, so there's a few things going on. We're above this meme line that I've had drawn out for a while. We're consolidating sort of above and below it. I do have a feeling that this may come into play again, if not lower. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just viewing the bigger picture here. There was a lot of liquidity up here. I've had this view for a little while, for about a week or so. I de-risked a little bit, even though the market has continued to pump after the fact. I did move some into stables just in case we get something, a deeper flush. Where will that happen to? Does that happen? Yet to be seen, but we are into some supply up here. ETH is, oh my goodness. ETH is really showing the market sentiment towards ETH right now. It's sort of lost a narrative at the moment. I mean, all the launches have been garbage, even the memes, they have no real direction or anything new really to focus on. And it's been a hard hold. ETH is one of my larger holds, but that being said, I've been an ETH holder since over here. And it is a long-term view that I have of Ethereum. It's getting tested, but I'm still comfy in my ETH. And I do think there is a lot of upcoming narrative that the market doesn't really understand at the moment in terms of BlackRock's direction with tokenizing the world. And I do think that that ultimately ends up on a platform such as Ethereum. But we're not here about that. Solana, though, has been doing quite well, but still consolidating in this larger daily range that we've been in for a while now. You can see these areas that I've had marked out for a while. And look, we flipped this area that had been supply and resistance for quite a duration. And it's flipped it and it found it using it as support, but we are into supply up here. And I am also noticing this is the Sol ETH chart, and this thing has been fucking up only, right? Like, quite impressive. And I do hold a lot of Solana as well, so I'm comfy in that as well. But this on daily, it could end up down here, down into here. Yet to be seen. I think if this happens, I may just switch a lot more of my Ethereum into Solana. We'll see. I've been doing a lot of the restaking stuff, and a lot of that's going to be freed up soon. There's like maybe 1 or 2 more airdrops that I'm waiting for from that front. And I think we're going to see a lot of ETH capital get mobilized once those happen. So we'll see. But this is the Sol ETH chart. But we're not here to look at majors. That was just a quick look. we are here to look at our on-chain shitcoins. Let's just take a real quick look at the comments for a second, see what's going on. PowerNap says, just rolling out of bed. Hope I didn't miss too much of the AM set. It's been pretty tame so far this morning. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Naps. It's been pretty tame. I had sort of was posting in the AFM group yesterday about the GOAT chart. And we all know that the market has been focused on the Solana AI ecosystem that has emerged over the last few weeks. And GOAT put in a high time frame change of structure. And I said to myself and also to those in the AFM TG group that I think AI might see a bit of a sell-off and a cooling here. And that's actually what did end up happening throughout the night and into this morning. I think anything that is strong out of the bucket of AI coins from the last few weeks are probably worth our attention. DeFi says, what up? It's Peon. GM, buddy. You get to put that name to this anonymous YouTube moniker here. Good to see you. Another one of our AFM regulars. Galactic Spectator says, doing well. How are you? I'm well. I'm feeling good. And another GM from Mihaly. GM to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. So we have quite a stacked list today. It had been a little while, a little over a week since the last stream, and those requests definitely piled up, and we're going to get to each and every one of those. I do also want to take a little bit of a look at some of the attention data and holdings data, because I do want to incorporate that into more of these shows. Sunny says, can I do WMM? It is on the list, don't you worry. And also, reminder to everyone that is in the AFM TG group, there is a link to the watch list for these live streams that is available. Maybe one of the moderators, one of our admins, I know that some of you are here watching, maybe you can repost that into the main AFM channel so anyone that's interested can take a look and follow along with what we're doing here. And another GM. Look at that. We're almost up to 30 live. Let's dig in. Let me pull up today's list. As I said, it's quite extensive. Let's open that up. Let me make sure it's showing properly. There we go. Let me get rid of this. Are you doing XVI? I believe XVI is part of the watch list. We'll get to that. Skaters added in a few more. We've got quite an extensive list, so we'll see what we're doing timing-wise by the time we get through them, but I think the watch list today is like 32 coins deep. Yeah, it's 32 coins deep. And I do see XGI is on there, or XVI is on there. The ones you have requested are not, but we'll see once we get towards the end of the show if we can tack those on. Rat Division says, GM, good to see you again, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. So let's dive in. So it's been an AI market. Oh, my laptop is low on battery. Let me just plug that in so I don't get booted midstream. There we go. We're all sorted. It has been an AI-dominated market for the last about 2 and a bit weeks, whenever GOAT launched and went on that epic run. Let me just sort these by volume, as you guys know that I like to do, and look at that. There's GOAT right there up on the top. And Munar says he just posted in the main chat. And what that is today's watch list. So if you want to go and follow along with what we're doing, all the tokens that we're looking at today, they will all be there. Now, they won't have my personal chart markings on them, but what you can do and what the purpose of this show is for education, so you can learn how to chart these and trade them yourself as a teach a man to fish situation, is you can go through, you can follow along, and you can mark them up as we're running through them and just try and figure out with the guidance that is provided here, how it is that I'm marking them up, and figure out how to do it on your own so that it's a skill you can have for the rest of your life. These skills are repeatable. The techniques and analysis style in the system is repeatable across any type of financial market. There's little nuances between each different market, like on-chain shitcoins will be a little bit different than sex pairs, will be different than equities, will be different than, what's the one? Forex. But all these techniques are transferable, which is the beauty of this system, because it's based, as you guys know, and as I say every single live stream, on a top-down approach that is first takes a look at high time frame bias. Is your high time frame, so H12, H4, daily, weekly, is that bullish or bearish? We figure out our market structure in that bias. We define our primary range, and then we drill down into lower time frames to find entries or exits, depending on if it's a bullish or bearish structure. So with that being said, why don't we just dive right in? Because, as I said, the list is stacked today. GOAT. I mean, what an impressive run. And one of the early triggers from a stream maybe 2 weeks ago was down here. And it ran up all the way almost to 1 billion. So quite a run. Now, some of you may be asking why it was that I said that the high time frame switched structure and my bias shifted. Well, yesterday we had an H12 close below this H12 demand. There was your swing low on H12. You got to close below. And then it's run up and it's acting now as supply. And we're seeing some selling here. Daily is still bullish. The problem with daily is how large that range is. I mean, it goes from 146 million all the way almost to a billion. It's a 530% range. It's not very useful to our purposes. Yes, it did bounce off of this area of daily demand yesterday, but I'm giving priority to the H12 at the moment because it's a workable structure. I don't think, and I'm not saying by any means that it's going to, because we lost this, it's going to come all the way down to the bottom of daily structure. We need to now figure out what it wants to do here since it broke H12. And we can now, with the candle close, this candle close earlier this morning on H12, we now have the actual H12 range. It's a bearish range, which we're now seeing at active supply. I can shift this a little bit so that we can get a better understanding of where the supply is on this. There we go. Now, this might have been the extent of the drop. It did come down and tag almost perfectly this previous breakout level, which is acting as support. I think, okay, so that's interesting. So here we have H4. H4 swept the bearish range high, and now it's seeing some sell-off. Does it consolidate here before flipping H4 back to bullish? It's very possible, but at the moment we're still bearish on these time frames, H12 and below. I wonder what H1. Problem with H1 is it's a lot of noise. Okay, so H1 actually flipped bullish. We can see here you had a H1 close above the H1 bearish range, which means that H1 is flipped bullish. This is a chart with a lot of chart history now and a lot of price action, and it's traded on sexes now. So I give less weight to this, especially since this did a sweep here on H4. That I think H4 is the lowest time frame you really want to be looking at this at. Everything else is going to be a lot of noise and chop. Two ways that I would consider a trade on this would be, as you know, either we get a flip H4 bullish, and then you look to bid when whatever demand is created, or you get some sort of sweep back down here on the H4 range low. And even better would be if it comes deeper into here and tags and closes as an SFP. But for now, that's what we're looking at here. I don't think this is done by any means. It's got a lot of attention, a lot of focus. It's a really cool project. An AI religion is sort of the overarching narrative of it. And it really was the coin that kickstarted this whole AI narrative on Solana. So that's what I'll be watching for. there's no real play here at the moment. You'd literally be buying middle of a bearish range on H4 in a bearish H12 range, pretty much middle of that as well. You can see that's pretty much where we came into on H12, was the midpoint of that range. If we just throw a fib up here, look at that. It even came and swept the bearish pocket before selling off. So quite clearly the time frame to be monitoring at the moment, even though it did get this daily bullish demand tag, I would be looking H4, H12 to see what happens. Moving along, BAN. My understanding of this coin is that it's also related to, I don't remember if you guys remember, banana tape wall from, it's got to be maybe a month and a half ago now, maybe even longer. It's been that long. From some of the earlier streams. This has to do with an auction of that, I believe. I don't know all the details. I'm not gonna misinform you. But let's just clear things off, see what we've got. Let's go high time frame. Nothing really to work with here, other than I do see we have a daily fair value gap right here. Come down to H12. It's very similar H12 fair value gap. I'm kind of wondering, is there? No, it's below that one, so there isn't a inter-range swing there. H4 is really the time frame I think that we can start looking at. Let's mark out some of those levels. You can see H4 closed above and then closed below, and now that's been sort of cap in price. There's a swing there. Okay, so there are some H4 inter-range swing levels that I do see. Let's just keep marking things out. Let's define the H4 range. Here's the H4 swing low, H4 swing high. This is your primary range, H4. Got an inter-range swing level right here, interim swing level, that it's dipping below. And it is coming into this daily fair value gap. I think rather than trying to catch a falling knife, I think if this closes back above this level, because you can see how that's acted as support, if it can manage to get this back above here before the close, I mean, the close is in 18 minutes, so it's got some work cut out for it, then that's a trigger. Or you're waiting for a lower time frame indication that a bottom is in, which we're just not seeing yet. We can see H1 has closed bearish when it closed below this swing level. So the H4 interrange swing point that I highlighted is actually the H1 swing low. And you can see we've closed below now. So I don't know that this is done yet. You want to see some consolidation happen, and it's to start putting in some lower time frame shifts back to bullish to realign with the high time frame trend, which is something that we talk about often. Is you can have your primary trend being bullish, but on lower time frames they can be counter trend, and all that's doing, it's a completely normal and regular occurrence. Actually, it'd be odd if you didn't get these counter trend moves. Is you're just looking for the higher low, and it just hasn't found that yet. But it is into this daily fair value gap. Does it want to come all the way down to the H4 swing low level? I mean, the H4 demand is all the way here. There we go. Does it want to come all the way back down there? I don't know. I couldn't tell you until that happens, right? We're waiting to see lower time frames what happens. I do think if H4 can get back above this before the close, then that's a trigger. But at the moment, just over 15 minutes till that close, it would require quite a bit to happen right now. Let's move along. Let's check in with the chat. Oh, and Moonar said BTW is almost 3 months old. Yeah, it's weird that another token launched. It just kind of feels meh. Why would why would I want to trade that one when the other one had already had a run? I'd need to do more research into why that coin is a thing, why ban is a coin. Okay, Project 89, another one from the AI narrative that we've been trading. This was something that I pointed out. A buddy of mine had asked yesterday. He was asking about this coin, what he should do. And there was an inter-range swing here that closed below. And I was telling him, and what I highlighted here was I was like, okay, anyone that bought this that is now underwater, they're probably going to want to get out as close to break even as possible, which is what we've seen. But let's clear this off, see what we've got now. Let's go up and see if we have anything. Well, that was a fairly telling. Look at that wick up into the previous swing high. Did it close above there? Okay, so it did close above there. This is H12. So we've got our H12 range. I don't love how large this wick is. It just tells you as soon as it got up into here, people were really eager to sell. It's a really cool narrative. I like the project. What I like about it, I'm not really wanting to dive too deep into the FA side of things and narratives or whatnot, but what I do like about it, sort of spoke to me, was it was less focus on AI as the tech and more focused on AI as the stories that they're telling. And it gave me real sci-fi vibes, like we're living in a Star Wars or Dune world. Let's take a look. Okay, so H12 demand. We had our higher high here when the H12 closed above. I think, though, if we look at daily, was that a oh? Okay. I always say, and you should as well, the higher the time frame, the stronger the signal. Well, daily had a massive sweep at that level. Doesn't mean that it can't still go up at all. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that that was a pretty telling daily signal. But let's move down to lower time frames. So H4. After you made that interrange lower low, you had another one since here. So, you know, maybe it's trying to find the bottom here. Did that sweep? Pretty close to it. Maybe it's trying to find a bottom here. We can throw a fib up and see what it's telling us. 786. I mean, so many of these Solana coins love the 786, and that's where you've gotten that initial reaction. It's a little late for that now since we bounced off of it. This close could be interesting because maybe this is telling you this is the bottom forming. There's not much more to analyze on this at the moment. The dev is there and delivering. Sometimes with these AI devs, though, not being necessarily crypto native, sometimes they say things or tweet things or do spaces where it doesn't ignite the crypto in a positive way, the asset in a positive way. So that's something you'd have to look at. But this is interesting here. 786, holding the 786, potential got that sweep there. This could be your entry here. I don't think lower time frame is very useful on a coin that has gotten, I mean, it was 50 mil. It's now at 12 mil. Quite a bit of a discount, right? This looks constructive, though. So provided the sentiment towards this coin is still bullish, which this is kind of telling you buyers are stepping in. Look at that. On H1, it swept. So I do like that. If you're not in and you're wondering, okay, how could I get in on this? Since it's moved away off the 786, and if you didn't buy that sweep, well, you just watch for the H1 to flip. Right, here's your H1 range. It's a bearish H1 range. You get that higher high, then you look to buy the demand, which might be something like here. We don't know yet because it has to close above. So maybe if it gives you one more sweep of that, could be an entry, although one more would start to look a little bit weaker, I think. But if you get an H1 close above here, you look to buy somewhere here. We need to let that unfold first. Now, I know it can be FOMO inducing if you see candles start to close above here and the FOMO can kick in and your instinct might be to chase. But we all know at some point a higher low is put in. So rather than chase a coin, unless you're going to be really scalping and really tight with your invalidation, which you'd have to figure out what that is, most likely if this flips, you get a higher low somewhere here, which is, better than buying here and similar to buying here. But you have the trend on your side because we want to be buying with trend. That's gives you the highest probability outcome, is to be buying with the trend rather than counter trend. The only way we like counter trend is if you're buying some sort of sweep of a range low or an obvious signal like the 786. But you have to be on it. You have to buy that as it happens, not when it's up here. Moving along. Fart coin, another one of the AI narrative that have been quite bullish. It's part of the GOAT eco, or the terminal of Turth ecosystem. So what do I see here? I mean, this is looking a little bit weak. It's struggling here, right? We had this. Now we have this. And now it's threatening the range low. I believe that's an H12 low. Yeah. Let's clean this up. Let's see. So H12 demand right there. Did we get a close below? No, but it is threatening it. I mean, it's right borderline. But the H12, same as daily close, it's hours away. So that would be a little bit of a late signal if you're waiting for that as a close below, because H4 could close below and then we start dropping, right? So not the best, but also a scenario where H4 could come down and then you just end up with an H12 sweep into here. And then you've got a more bullish feeling chart. But I mean, H12 is bullish. Structure is intact. Right, there is your higher high break range. It's definitely threatening the bottom of that range, though. If we go to H4, so H4 had broken bearish when it closed below this level right here. And then it came up, swept the top of the bearish H4 range, and then sold off more, and has made a new lower low on H4. So H4 is definitely in bearish structure, and it is threatening that low. 8 minutes to close. I mean, this is what you want to be watching. If this closes back in the box, you have a thesis. Doesn't mean that it is going to go up. It's just you have a thesis and a very clear and tight invalidation. If this H4 closes below the level, I would be concerned. So you've got a little under 8 minutes for that to happen, and then you can decide whether you've got to trade there or not. It is looking heavy, though, especially with GOAT. So this is what I was talking about before. GOAT being an indicator of the overall health of the AI sector at the moment. Doesn't mean that coins won't do well and that new launches won't do well. I mean, last night we had a few pop off. SID was one of them. So there's going to be coins to speculate on. I think part of the trouble with some of these AI coins is the initial speculation is based off of the dev and the AI, what the AI has said or done, because a lot of these are just LLMs that are tweeting and sparking narrative. But after that initial speculation cools, then it starts to become, okay, what is actually building real tech? Where's the next leg going to come from? What tech is it based off of? Is there a working product? I think this one is more specifically a meme coin. So if this loses this on H4, it starts to look rough, especially H12 then. So keep an eye on this. You got 6 minutes. Act 1, the AI prophecy. Another of the AI narrative. I mean, there's a theme going on here, right? These have all been part of that AI narrative on Solana. Let's go higher time frame. I mean, look at this. This is H12. H12 demand, H12 range, bearish, bullish range, came all the way, swept the bottom of that H12 low, and gave a nice reaction. And since then, it's been sort of consolidating and chopping around in here. Clean it up. Let's start fresh so you guys know. You can see for everyone trying to follow along and learn as we do these streams, that's why I do break them down. There's your H12 swing low. Let's mark out these. You do know that I like to mark out those key swing levels. There's your H12 range. It's bullish. This is your higher high break. And for anyone new, I use the purple lines as the primary range, the orange line as the indicator of the structure break. So this was a higher high break, making continued bullish stair stepping and a continued bullish primary range and structure. So that's what the orange usually indicates, or does always indicate, whether it's bullish or bearish. I use orange. The gray lines just mark out key swing levels that I see. I mean, this is looking pretty good. We can go down to H4. I guess the question would be, if you're not on board this, what would you do? How would you get on board a coin like this right now? I would be watching what happens here, because we don't like to buy middle of a range, even though, you know, that was pretty much the dead set middle of this primary H12 range. We can see that H4 did break bearish, right? So that's what this resistance has been running into, this supply on H4. So it's still trying to work through that and decide whether H12 wants to hold the bullish, because it is working through this H4 supply. You can see it's run right into it right here. Like, this is your H4 supply. So I think if you're looking to get on board this, you're watching this level for a close above, and then we try and get in on a new area of demand, depending on where that gets set. It might be somewhere here. We don't know yet. I wouldn't be looking to take a trade here. This one, it did, however, if you didn't buy that H12 low, like, that was the best risk reward possible trade, was right there. Well, you did have an H1 flip here. And then it's come. Now, the interesting thing about this, though, or the difficult thing that would have been to gauge this one, is it didn't tag any inherent H1 demand, because the swing low was all the way down here. It did run into this fair value gap, like, perfectly, which is why we need to be aware of all the tools available at our disposal. You guys know, though, that supply and demand, fair value gaps, breakers, these are all different versions, OBs, order block style supply demand, which I use a modified version of. You guys know that. Order blocks, breakers, fair value gaps, these are all different versions of supply demand that you look for on a chart. And we did have that large area displacement on this H1 candle, where no price action traded opposite it within that body. Well, then there you go. That's where you got your bounce from. I do think now you don't want to be buying here, because you could buy here, it comes here, sweeps, and then comes back down, right? So either you get a flip of this and you look to buy demand, or maybe it comes all the way back down and gives you another sweep. Or you can look for some inter-range swing levels, because I do see this H4 has a swing inter-range there. Maybe if it sweeps here, it comes back down and sweeps this, and maybe tags this H1 fair value gap. Actually, there's an H4 fair value gap there too. But maybe if it comes up, sweeps that, your entry would be some sort of sweep of this and a tag into there. at the moment, though. Unless you're DCAing and you have a long time horizon on this and you're not just trading the chart level to level, which is not what the system that we teach here. We do teach those structure and setup based approach. Well, here is literally the exact spot you don't want to be buying for that. Let me know if that makes sense to everyone. Nap says 50 mil was the MEV wick. All-time high was about 30 mil, it seems. We've had this conversation before, and you and I differ on our way of where to place those things like fibs on those. And I understand your perspective on it 100%, that it's not where price truly traded when it's in an MEV wick. My counter to that is, who's using fibs? Well, it's people trading off of a chart. And how are they going to draw it? Well, they're going to draw it off the chart. So it's one area where we differ. But the beauty of analysis is you can take the system. Oh, apologies. There's our 4-hour close. You can take the system and take what works for you and apply it and adapt it to yourself. That's how I've developed the system, was learning from several different traders and then adapting what worked for me. And that's perfectly acceptable. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the system to be able to share with you. If I just, if it was just cookie cutter from one person's system, yes, I could relay that. But this was something that I've developed over a few years from trading on chain. And so that's how I use it. By the way, everyone, Naps is one of our admins in the AFM-TG community, and he is very smart with it. He has a thorough understanding of narratives. He's been really good at the AI narratives, amongst other narratives. He's really, really quick with it and smart with it, and his analysis is on point too, and I trust his analysis as well. So if you ever run into Naps in the AFM-TG group, tell him hello and listen when the man speaks. So Luna. This is a wormhole token. It's actually from the base chain, part of the Virtuals protocol, which is another really cool AI protocol that's doing some interesting things. Now, this looks like it had a massive run up, and actually the wormhole listing, and what wormhole is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a cross-chain protocol, and what they do is they bridge tokens from Solana, from base onto Solana, so you can trade it there. And that was actually a big contributor to this massive run. Just marking out those key levels. What do we see here? Well, daily. So this is a daily chart. We have a daily fair value gap. Let's leave that up for now. Drill down into lower time frames. Okay, so some indicator that this was potentially going to cool was yet an H12 sweep of the high. Thing that is tough with a chart like this is your H12 low is all the way down here. So it is a massive H12 range with that daily fair value gap in between. Maybe you get some sort of sweep at that level on H12. If it's a sweep, maybe that's a buy. I think the ecosystem is really cool. I think it's got a lot of cool, it's an AI agent marketplace, but it's more gaming focused, and they're developing some really cool things. Like this Luna is an AI influencer. What a world that we're evolving into. So maybe you get some sort of sweep here. H4 range is all the way down here. I mean, these ranges are massive. This candle here, yes, we have this fair value gap that has been and can continue to act as support. When you get massive displacement like that with no clear support levels, though, if it starts losing this, like, it could rapidly come down to here. For now, there's not really much to base anything off, right? Like H1 is in a bearish range. All right, as soon as you close below here, you had an H1 bearish range, and then that's been acting as supply. Reject, reject. But H1 is very choppy. I mean, look, how do you, unless you're using the higher time frame for your setup and then looking to lower time frame for your triggers, you can't base a trade really off this. You want to be looking higher time frame. So I think depending on what happens here, if you get an H4 close below here, it's going to come lower. Especially you get an H12 range, H12 close below that interim range level, interim swing level. But you do have this previous higher high level here. So maybe it comes down to 75 mil. I don't know. Could fib this. Trouble with this is though all like the earlier price action exists on base before they wormhole the token. So like, is this the true fib level? Anyone looking at the Solana version, yes, it is. Well, and look at that. Pockets right in the middle of that daily fair value gap. 786 aligns with that pretty closely to that previous high key important swing level. That's 74 mil. Those are some areas to look at. Moving along. WMM, weird medieval memes. Whoa, I got a lot going on in this chart. It had a trade the other day, but it looks as though it's lost that. And this just so happened, this is H1, so it's very noisy, but this just so happened to be coinciding with the GOAT sell-off. And you can really, I mean, we can clearly see on the charts how correlated a lot of the ecosystem is to GOAT. I'm pretty sure this is actually a spin-off token. It was an earlier LLM developed by the Truth Terminal ecosystem, one of the earlier coins. I think it predates, not the coin itself, but the AI agent predates GOAT. Let's clean this up though and see what we've got. Go high time frame, daily, not really much to work with. Seeing a nice bounce though. Maybe AI is finding a bottom. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is why it's so important on the way up to be marking out your key swing levels, because quite often that's where price will find future bounces from. Oh, look at that. I mean, I like a layered approach, primary analysis, and then add in fibs to give you an idea of where it might want to find, where buyers might want to step in. Well, look at that. Previous important swing level on H12, 786, pretty closely aligned. You had a lot of confluence for a bounce occurring there. And on top of that, it's even your H4 demand in a bullish H4 range. There's your range low. There's your range high. Bullish H4 range. Here's the level when it closed above that made an H4 higher high, bullish stair-stepping continuation. I mean, there was a lot of reason to buy that level right there. Right now, no, because that reaction has already occurred. Look, I even have some people trying to front run it there, but it ultimately came down. I mean, H4 is bullish, so maybe you get one more stab at buying the 786. You don't want it to lose this range low, definitely not. But that was a good reaction there. I think if you get one more sweep here, I wouldn't necessarily blind bid it because it's tested it now twice, although officially only once. I think you might want to wait to see. I mean, you could blind buy it, and then maybe on H1, if you start getting a close below the level, then you cut. And it's a fun, the fun thing, the thing about this one is it's more fun and a easily accessible meme, where some of the other ones require a lot of thinking. This one's just like fun imagery, right? Thou sold the bottom? The bottom again. I hope this chart does highlight to a lot of you, though, the importance of top down and why we go highest time frame and market those key swing levels. All right, we can even put that there, which had acted as interrange. That key swing level acted as interrange support. It's since lost it though, so now, you know, we're just at the bottom of the range. Highlight this interim range that we have going on. It's within the primary range, but this is an H4 interim range. So maybe some sort of sweep again, or close above here, and then you could look to buy here on a higher low. Or if you're DCAing, like say you bought, well, just DCA into here, because I do think it's probably going to go up. Pig by Steve, Minecraft meta. Let's see what we've got. Let's check in on the chat. Oh, Alan says, GM, good to see you again. Thanks for showing up. 37 people live. Whoa. That's amazing. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate all of you. Let's take a look at what we've got on Steve. So H4, okay. H4 demand. Here's your higher high break. Here's your H4 swing low. H4 swing high. There's your bullish H4 range. It's into demand. We can throw the fib up, see what's going on. So it's below the 786. And you can see as soon as it closed below the 786, that's been acting as a price cap. But it is in a bullish structure. What we can do then is switch down to H1. Maybe your trigger is a sweep of that, or maybe the trigger is all the way at the bottom of the H4 range. We don't know yet. Is this a lasting narrative? There was a lot of Minecraft related tokens that popped up over the last couple of days with some of these doing well. So you have to ask yourself, is the attention still there? I don't know. But H4 bullish. I think even the H1 range and the H4 are pretty much the same, because yeah, you had all this action here, but this was the swing high and the swing lows down here. So your H1 range and your H4 range are fairly identical. Like you could see when this got up here on H1, okay, maybe that's time to cut. Late for that now, but we're seeing what happens here. We're just looking for a setup to occur. H1's bullish, H4 is bullish. M15 might be bearish. Well, yeah, M15 100% is bearish. That was a lie. M15 flip bullish. Oops. Right there. And then came into this demand. So maybe this is a buy right now. I think ideally you get a sweep of that low, but this is M15 demand after it put in an M15 higher high, realigning with the higher time frame trend. It had been bearish, now it's bullish. You can see also that it flipped bullish here and then lost that. So we're just trying to find the low time frame realigning with the high time frame, which here it has. So this could be a reason to enter a trade right here. The only reason I don't love buying here right now is if it does actually come down here, say you lose this level and you think, okay, I want to cut this M15 trade. Really the invalidation for the higher time frame trade is down here. So what if it loses this, sells off from here, and then just comes here to find a bottom, and then you go up here? It's a tough one to take a trade off of. But if you're nimble, quick, monitoring the chart, there's a reason. I mean, look, you even had within this M15 demand, an M15 sweep of that interrange level. A lot of things here saying this has a trade. right? Does everyone, you all understand how it is that I outlined that? M15 bullish range made a higher high into M15 demand, gave you another trigger of an M15 inter-range sweep. I don't really want to buy here though. Your better buy would be here or flipping this with a higher high, then buy here. When you'd be buying close to where it is right now, just you wouldn't be getting the Pico bottom. Unless you're already in this, right? Moving along. FWOG, haven't looked at this one in a little while. This was one from one of our streams months ago now. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Did not want to do that. Apologies. I wanted to close this. 2 months and 28 days, almost 3 months ago. Throwback. An AFM stream throwback, which I'm pretty sure we nailed the bottom here. If you go back and watch the stream from maybe, well, when was this? August. Pretty sure we nailed this bottom here. Just claiming some clout. What are we working with right now? This is a daily chart. Let's clear this off, get some of those levels lined up. Happened since I haven't looked at this chart in a while, but obviously I should have been because it's throughout the entire AI run quite bullish. So what do we have now? If you want to stick to true order block style, there's your daily demand, but you all know that I like looking at a cluster of price action before the disbursement. Well, I'm going to kind of give it this with that swing, that key swing level of previous as part of the demand. Range low, range high. Just zooming out a little bit to take a look here and see what we're working with. I mean, this looks like a truncated version of this. All right, chop, 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 boom, up. All right, chop, 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 boom, up. So it's a truncated version. The disbursement is shallower, but you know, it's a 250 market cap coin, 200 mil market cap coin now. H12 flip bearish. That is something I can see. Did it? That was a lie. I apologize. It did not flip bearish because the H12 range is pretty similar to the daily range. Not much to do on that. We can go H4, but H4 is starting to get noisy. And even H4, the range is still this whole thing right here. I mean, here was an entry trigger here. If you're watching this as a daily setup and you're looking, okay, I'm daily, so I'm going to go H4 to look for my entry trigger. Well, sweep, sweep, sweep. And now it's going up. Right. I'd say if you want to get on board this right now, or if you're on board and wondering, do you hold? This is what you're looking at on H4 right now. This is your H4 range, bullish range. You're looking for this H4 demand to hold. If it closes below this, you know, you're probably going to come and retest this, but does that ultimately end up being where buyers step in again, or is it deeper into the demand on daily? I don't know. But that daily inter-range level is probably important, right? So I think if you get a daily sweep of that, it's probably another trigger to go long. But if you're just playing intraday trades, although this one moves a lot slower now, so like even if you were taking this H4 setup, it could take days to play out. Well, that's what we're looking at right now. This was indicator. that it was going to do some selling. You didn't lose too much though. How much did it come down? Like say we're somewhere here. Not even a 30% drawdown. Not too bad for crypto. But that's what I've been watching. This H4 demand. It is aligned with the high time frame trend. You never even lost H4 because your H4 range is from here to here. It's a large range, right? Well, you know what? Oh, you know what messed up? It was because when I switched something, it didn't sort by volume. So now our list is going to be messed up. Uh-oh. Well, we did that. Okay, now we're back on track. Sigma. Haven't looked at this coin in a long time. Whoa. Well, I had this meme line. It was probably an H12 meme line, just looking at that. Yeah, we had this H12 meme line. I said in previous analysis, if it flips that in that demand, it's probably a trigger to go long. Well, look. This is why high time frame is your clearest and cleanest signal. Boom. I neglected to follow up on this chart, and well, that's a costly thing to look back on. A nice 20x. You know, I don't love meme lines, but when they're clear and obvious to me that I think a large chunk of the market is probably watching them. I mean, look at what you had here. It was a meme line that was holding price back. It closed on the opposite side of it, came down, tagged demand, swept a range low. Like there was a lot of indicators there that I wanted to go up. You just had to have patience on this, right? So where are we now? Let's get a clean look at recent price action to see what we have. Again, high time frame, clean signal. You had a daily swing high, swept. You had a pretty good idea that it wanted to sell off from there. You also have a daily inter-range swing here that it closed below. Your true range bottom, it's a long way away. So where can we even find the daily range low? There. But what do I see? Daily fair value gap. Look at exactly where it found support. And you got a flip here, like not a flip because it never lost daily bullish, but you did get a close above that. So that is kind of you got to close above that and above that. And we can see now where it's finding buyers stepping in. I think another tag into here is a buy. Or this may hold. It's tough to say. So H4 had lost structure, went bearish, but it's now regained bullish. So this actually comes back, and this becomes much more important analysis now. What I can see, let's do this. Here's your H4 demand. H4 swing low. H4 swing high. Adjust this a little bit. There we go. Okay, there's your H4 bullish range in daily bullish structure. H4 has realigned because it has lost structure. This was your H4 range. It's tough because that was a wick, but let's just say that was your H4 range. You had a close below and then another lower low, which is now flip bullish. So you're looking in this H4 demand. Perhaps it's another tag into this daily fair value gap. Probably some clean signal going on there. Signal looks good though. So for anyone that's been looking at the AI narrative and being like, I don't, it's a little harder to understand, or I don't really get it, or I haven't been having as much success as I like. Well, there are coins that have been doing well outside of that narrative. Because all of this has been while AI has been popping off. Worm, another AI narrative coin. Okay. High time frame, daily. Swept the high. Clean signal. Look at that. H12, swept the high. Clean signal. Look at that. H4, though, made a higher high. Your H4 range is here. Yeah, your H4 range is here. It's a large range. Your H4 demand is here, which it tagged. Look at that. You can fib that to see what's going on. It's holding the pocket. Tag demand. This one would have been a little bit harder to gauge where you buy, because you're looking at it. Okay, we have the golden pocket there, 786 just below this area of demand. What does it use as its ultimate bottom? You see that there. Inter-range sweep. Maybe it comes down and sweeps this. Or maybe it holds the pocket. It's hard to say. I don't really think H1 is going to be. There's your H1 range. Is it a bearish range? Yeah. There's your H1 bearish range. So if you get an H1 flip above there, but I think on H4, it's telling you that that's a level it wants to flip, or it needs to flip to continue. So you watch that, or you watch here, or you watch the 786. And this is a pretty cool concept, this project. It's a AI powered worm that lives forever on the Solana blockchain. I mean, if you're here and you're saying, okay, I'm bullish on this, how do I get on board? You could use the thesis of it just holding the pocket. I think I'd prefer it down here or here, though, because it will still be holding structure. You got the 786 right there. If H4 closes above here, I think you're looking to buy here to go here. Moving along, let's check the chat real quick. Munar says, perfect, exactly what I had for Sigma. I mean, your analysis has been quite spot on. Another one of our admins from AFM. So if you guys see Munar in the chat, tell him you say what's up, and he provides some excellent analysis as well, and a great addition to the AFM community. How are we doing on time? We're an hour and 13 in, a little under halfway through the list. Let's try and step this up a bit. Still got 29 of you guys viewing. Amazing. Love it. Thank you for being here. So E/ACC, effective accelerationism, another AI coin. What do you do here, though? I mean, it's H12 bullish range, tag demand, now chopping up here. Okay. See what we've got on daily. Daily is bullish. Daily swing low. Daily swing high. Higher high break level. Not much to do here. There really isn't. Either you're in the trade from here, or you're waiting until you get a higher high and then buying that demand, unfortunately. You can go lower time frame. Pretty much, or is exactly the same range on H12 as daily. H4 is in a bearish range, but your primary trend is bullish. So, I mean, this is maybe telling here on H4. Sweep, attempt again. You did have some beautiful triggers on H4 though. When it came down into that daily demand, put in a low, sweep, up. Right now, there's not really much you can do. If you're wondering, do I stay in the trade? Oh, look at that, a bit of a pop. If this H4, the next H4 closes above there, then I think you stay in the trade. I think if you get another sweep here, you maybe look to close off and rebuy down here. Or maybe here. We don't know yet. But the chart in general is quite bullish. And one of the stronger AI charts that we've looked at in terms of what's occurred since last night to today. You know, some of the other ones are down here, bottom of the range. This one's back near the top of the range. Risk reward wise, though, I mean, look, it's starting to move. Risk reward wise, though, being so close to the range high, it's not in an ideal place to buy unless you're just looking for a quick scalp, pull out whatever you get from here. I mean, 15%, you know, it's a gamble there. Get a close above, you can start to look to buy. But it is quite bullish. Cat GF, cat girlfriend. Ooh, a lot going on in this chart. Let's wipe it clean, see what we've got. Okay. It's quite a large daily range. And we can see the daily fair value gap has provided support. H12 and daily range are identical. Here's your H4 range, range low, range high, swap the range low, had a move, swap the range low, had another move. A little bit weaker now though. You lose this level, I think you do cut because invalidation is a long way away that you just could look to rebuy down here. I mean, we've had a lot going on, right? Like there's a lot of inter-range sweeps happening both sides, right? So the market's unsure on this one. It's like people are trading this as a range. Buy, sell, buy. They're probably looking to sell here again, right? So if you can get in somewhere low down here, your risk reward is good. Risk defined. You got to close below. And fib that, see what we got going on. Kind of front ran the pocket. Now this is this a pump coin? Yeah, it's a coin off pump. So you guys know that DexScreener doesn't have full chart history on pump coins. If anyone's ever wondering or didn't know that, DexScreener only tracks pump fund coins once they go to radium after they are bonded, which means the chart history is incomplete. And also I've been getting a bunch of questions of people saying, what does it mean when I see a bunch of wallets selling, but they don't have any buys? Well, quite often that could be they bought on pump fund pre the radium migration. And radium is a DEX on Solana, which is where all the pump coins migrate to. They transfer the liquidity pool to radium. So you're not going to get the 100% complete history. So there's probably, there's some candles over here on pump. So throwing the fib on this isn't always as accurate as using the pump chart. So this fib may very well align with the bottom of demand here on H4 if you look at the full chart history, which you can do on Photon. Bullux as well, but I don't rely on their charts so much. I mean, the 786 kind of looks attractive here, but it very well could be lining up with the bottom of that range low. We could even just fib the H4 range and see what we've got. It's a pretty large range. I mean, it's chopping around the 786 on just the H4 range. If we do the H12 range, let's see what we're working with. Okay, so just fibbing the H12 range, the 786 100% was swept and tagged and aligns with the bottom of that fair value gap. Right, that's a daily fair value gap, as well as bottom of the H4 range. There's a lot going on there that is telling you that this is an important level. If I were looking to get on board, I would look for one more stab down into this area as a good reason to take a trade. If I'm wondering, do I hold if I'm, in from here and I've round tripped? You need to be asking yourself or learning about what are some exit triggers on the way up. Well, all these sweeps are pretty telling. Sweeps on the bottom, reason to go long. Sweeps on the top, reason to cut or short, depending on what market you're in. Moving along, Michi. Wow, have not looked at this coin in a long time, and we're not even halfway. Okay, Rap, you got to speed it up. Michi. Massive weekly range. I've had these lines marked out for a while. Massive weekly range that has come, swept the weekly high. Look at exactly where it rejected off of. Here's daily. I mean, your daily had been doing or has been doing bullish stair stepping. Excuse me. What we have right now, here's your daily range high. Here's your daily demand. Here's your daily swing low, daily range low. So there's your daily range. When a chart has as much history, though, as a chart like Michi where you get weekly levels, I do suggest that you start charting from that perspective, because the higher the time frame, the higher the signal. And given that weekly did this, I'm not saying this is going to happen, and this has been one of those sort of forever range-bound coins, but here's the bottom of your weekly range. If it is just going to keep trading in a range, unless you flip this on weekly. Now, you could be saying, okay, I've put in a daily higher high. This is my daily demand. I'm looking for this. Well, your risk is very clearly defined and close by. So say you buy here. you risk 5% drawdown. Not the end of the world. So there is a thesis and a reason to buy here. There is a thesis and a reason to buy there. But you can see, I mean, I'm telling you, I've marked this level. It was the highest weekly close that it had gotten. I marked this, I can't remember when. I don't even remember the last time I looked at this chart. Well, it was obviously the last time I looked at the chart was somewhere over here. So about a month ago, 4 weeks ago. But that weekly level I had for a while. And look how important that level has been. And look, yes, you got the close above, close below, immediately sold off directly from that level. But is this building up enough consolidation and buyers here to finally push and break that level on weekly? It might be. And, you know, that could be a good enough reason to buy here because your risk is very clearly defined. You stand to lose very little if you lose the level. Alerts starting to pop off. Is market getting hotter? Stuff I'll need to catch up on later. I don't think looking at much lower time frames on Michi is very useful. I mean, yeah, H4 is bearish. You could wait for H4 to flip back to bullish, which would be here. And then you have an indication, okay, this daily demand wants to hold. This to me is buying, getting sold much quicker. But you could be looking for that H4 flip to bullish to realign with the high time frame. I'm not putting this here to scare anyone and to suggest that this is actually what's going to happen. It's just on something like a weekly range that is clearly trading within a range, hit the top of the range, very often you will hit the bottom of the range. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. Like maybe you find buyers there. I'm just saying be aware of how important that weekly level has been. Fiji, another of the AI coin narrative. Let's clear this off. Let's see what we've got. One thing I don't love is how your primary range is just this one candle, essentially. So obviously day one was very bullish, and then it's been consolidating. So yeah, okay, you flipped this. This had been a range, obviously. Flipped it. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? Look at where it found support. So let's call this our current H4 range. All right, you flip that. You're looking for this demand to hold. Held up relatively well through the sell-off on AI yesterday. I think that's just noise, though. I think if you get a dip into here, it could be worth the buy. The only other way to trade this is if it flips this, but then you're already into all-time highs. So it's kind of tough. Kind of reminds me of the worm chart. Big run up, consolidated, broke out, tagged, and then went on to new highs. Right, like you can even see here, there was a trigger right there. What was it? Had that inter-range swing low, swept, held it. 786 has been chopping quite a bit. Flip the pocket, hold in the pocket. Maybe if you go sweep here, comes down, H4 sweep, could be your trigger there. A lot of noise though on this one, right? Like it's been a lot of chop. Yes, it's upward chop, but it's been a lot of chop. Malachi. Let's clean it up. I think this is the H4 range you're watching. I think this was, yeah, some kid's passport photo became a meme. That's funny. H1 is bearish. H1 is a bearish range. There's your H1 swing high, swing low. Flip bearish when it closed below there. I think if H1 can flip that, then you have a trade. I don't even know if I'd want to really buy swing low on this one, because is it a lasting narrative or is it just I don't know. You can see how important that level has been. It's been capping price as well. If you get an H1 flip, then there's your trade thesis at the moment. Not personally interested. Lock in, another OG. Ooh, okay. So what do we have going on? Let's find our daily range. Daily is flip bearish again. But you can see those previous swing levels providing support. So it's a tough one to say. It reached almost 100 million. Good for lock in. Wow. I have not looked at this coin in a while, but it has done well. H1 is bearish though. Or sorry, daily is bearish. Let's outline our range. There's your daily range. It's a bearish range. It's a massive supply zone. I mean, you had people buying all of this. Now underwater and looking to break even, right? Like that's just the psychology behind it. It's what we've got working with. Bit of a parabola that took place. And once the parabola breaks, you know, maybe it has one more push up into here. But once the parabola breaks, the momentum is just tends to follow back down to the downside. Question is, where does it ultimately end up? Maybe this was it with that sweep. Let's take a look here. Did H12 flip back to bullish? No. H12 bearish range swept the high. A lot tells me at least it probably wants to come back down to here. I mean, maybe it uses this demand as support, but we didn't make a higher high, so it's not the true demand. and we're into high time frame supply. Okay, well, H4 flip bullish, but you would have had to catch that trade here. Now you're up here, top of this range. What do you do? Well, if you flip that on H12, you have a trade. Maybe if you get into range sweep here on H4, you have a trade. Maybe we're working with some sort of channel. Just trying to see if I can see or recognize a meme line on here. Not really. No, I don't see anything there. No, it's useless. That was useless. Okay, let's just say you were taking this as an H4 trade. You flipped H4 bullish there. Tag demand. And sent higher high, higher high. So maybe you're looking for this H4 demand to hold. If this H4 holds, then you're looking for it to make a higher high above that H12 level, which is this one. But the higher time frames are bearish at the moment. H12 daily, both bearish. H4 bullish. I would watch this, because if you close below this, then bottom of the range is very likely. Very likely. Mini. Wow, another one I haven't seen in a long time. It managed to hit 80 mil. Wow, congratulations to many holders. It's really interesting that a swing level that I had drawn, even though daily it had lost, daily was bullish and then it flipped bearish, but it actually tagged a previous level and sent. But that is unimportant. Now, what we want to know is what are we working with at this moment? Okay. Daily's bearish. No way around it. Daily's bearish. Here's your daily swing high. It made one lower low, two lower lows on daily. Maybe it wants to come back down here. We can infer that maybe this is the daily swing low, but we're only part way through today's daily candle. We still got many hours to go until close. But if this closes above here, then you have a daily range defined. And you can look to try and base a trade off, maybe a sweep here. But daily is definitely bearish. Okay, H4 flip bullish. So maybe this is a case of what we were looking at in the lock-in chart, where daily flip bearish, but H4 flip bullish. So if you're taking an H4 trade and an H4 view of it, you're in danger of flipping H4 bearish, though. Right? Because this is your H4 range. H4 is in danger of flipping bearish again. Then it becomes likely that it revisits here, and maybe it's a daily sweep. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I wouldn't rush into a trade on this. I would wait to see how this daily candle forms. Look, and you can see deviation above the range, sell off, underside tag, sell off. Moving along, YGG. I don't even think I've looked at this one yet. YGG Dressel. Sure. Okay, immediately on a daily chart, I see that. H12 flipped it though, so maybe you're looking for this. But what are you supposed to do with a candle like that? You can't really use that as a trade thesis, right? It almost sold off the entire candle. So see why those key swing levels, those key previous swing levels have become so important to future price action. Maybe what you're doing is you're looking for an H1 bottom of the range, sweep into H12 demand. Maybe that's what you're looking for. Because here's your H1 range. H1 range. Maybe you're looking for something to come into here, sweep into there, another tag of that demand, or a tag of that demand. It hasn't tagged it since it printed it. Yeah. There's a setup here. You just have to ask yourself, where does the ultimate bottom put in? Do you try to DCA this down, thinking that maybe this is the bottom and then it's going to go up from there? Like, do you start to layer bids or do you wait? I mean, this is a lot of sell-off. I think an H1 sweep tagging the H12 demand is the setup. CB. All right, we're working our way through. We're not doing too bad. Moses says it's pronounced Yggdrasil. Okay, Yggdrasil. CB. Daily bullish structure. It's just doing a lot of consolidation here. It had been really strong into the AI narrative popping off, and then it's sort of lost attention and momentum. Still holding really well, though. I don't really see the meme in Telegram chats as much anymore. This little guy, the sticker pack. I don't really see it pop up much at all anymore. Something worth noting is market attention has definitely shifted away. But there's your daily range. It's a bullish range. H12 demand. Same range as daily. It's just looking for what's the catalyst that's going to send this higher. Like, this could just randomly pop out of nowhere, right? That level is capping price. But it is compressing with a slight upward tilt. 100% if you lose this level, you get the fuck out. If you're looking to get on board, buying here is a 40% drop to invalidation, so it's not ideal. H1 is choppy as shit. I wouldn't base a trade off of that at all. I wouldn't base a trade off that at all. I think you're looking at H4. Flip that, then you can look to buy somewhere here again. Other than that, you could just be DCAing in this area, though. Say your thesis is okay. At some point, I think this pops and goes back to 20 million. Well, you could just DCA in this area. It's holding the level. Obviously, buyers are stepping in here that don't want to see it go lower. So you could just be buying little chips, but be aware that your invalidation is 40% below here now. Aura, another throwback. A lot of throwback coins today. I think what I'm seeing from this is people are a little bit exhausted of the AI narrative and looking for other types of plays to get into. I don't think AI is going anywhere. I think this most recent iteration of it on Solana has been a lot more fun than it was on ETH earlier in the year. And I think it's here to stay. And I do actually think at some point the AI sector of crypto dwarfs over the remaining market cap of crypto, to be honest. Maybe not dwarfing Bitcoin per se, but what is crypto right now? Like a 3-point-something trillion dollar market? I mean, NVIDIA is the most highly valued company in the world right now, right? So it would reason to make sense that in crypto it becomes one of the largest sectors. Okay, daily, Aura, bearish. Bearish range, swept the low, ran the range high. If this can close above on daily, you've got yourself bullish structure and you can look to buy demand. At the moment, if this closes as a sweep, then we're looking back down here. Not really much more to analyze on that at the moment. You can see how this level was important. Sweep, sweep, close above, close below, sweep, sell off, right? I do want you guys, anyone following along, to get in a habit of marking out these key swing levels because they do become so important in the future. And not even just in hindsight, like as you're going up, you know, maybe M1 isn't the greatest time frame to do it on for neutral. Like, yes, on a new chart, it's all you have to work with. But once you start getting like M15 on a chart that's a day old, those can often be the areas that get retested and find buyers, and they often align with places like the 786 and demand. I do want you guys to get in the habit of that. And then especially on daily, start marking out those key levels. Like, look, I can even bring this one in, right? Chopped around it, flipped it bullish, tag it, boom, right? So I do want you guys to make a habit. It's really easy. Just use, it's called a ray. It's called a horizontal ray. And all you have to do is tag it once and it drops. You can make it whatever color you want. Just for your higher time frame usually, but key swing levels. You can do it on the way down as well. I usually just do it on the way up, but you can do it on the way down as well. And it just makes life easier as levels you want to leave for the duration of the chart that you're monitoring it because you don't ever have to change them. They were key swing levels for a reason. They might come back into play later. You don't know. But when you're looking at a chart and shit is selling off and you're like either you had wanted to buy and you're just like all of a sudden getting cold feet because shit looks really bearish. Well, if you have that level marked out, you can say, okay, this was a level actually that I thought might become important in the future, and here we are. It helps pulling the trigger on those red days a lot easier because you have some level of a plan in place, right? If you don't have a plan, you're going to get bearish and not want to buy. If you have a plan, when it gets to your levels, then you act, right? Watch that on daily. Not much more to say on it. XVI, Xavier Simul. Ooh. Okay. Well, this has been a casualty of the GOAT sell-off. It looks rough right now. I mean, you could say, okay, maybe we're trying to hold this, but even then, look at that. If you're holding this and wondering what to do, you're hoping for a bounce, right? Like maybe you're going to get an H4 bounce into here. But if you do get that bounce, I wouldn't be holding here saying, oh, maybe it's going to flip it. Hold longer, because next thing you know, sweeps here, comes back down, and you're lower, right? So like have a plan. It's bearish. And there's also this supply level here now, right? The only way I would get interested in this coin again is if it flips H4, this range high, with a close above, then you can buy somewhere in here. But for now, this looks horrible. I'm going to be blunt about it. Maybe we can take a look at H1, see what's happening. It just looked weak. And yeah, you could flip H1 here. If you get an H1 close above there, but then you're middle of the H4 range, right? And you're diddling in the middle. So don't love it, to be honest. Andy, I think this is our first ETH coin today. Whoa. It still has my old volume bars before I got the change to stick. For a long time, changing the volume bars, it wouldn't save with Deck Screener. But now it does. Okay, let's just remove everything off here. Let's go monthly, see what we got. Important level. Important level. Weekly. I mean, you've got a massive weekly range. So this was weekly demand. It just is marking that out even useful right now. You could say it's trying to hold this weekly level. Let's just go to daily and see what we've got. Okay. It's a lot of chop even on daily. I'm going to be honest. But it's in a daily bearish range. Right? Close below. Testing this weekly level. Like there's a lot of things going on here that it could go either way, to be honest with you. Because daily it's bearish. Weekly it's bullish and trying to hold the weekly level. You're pretty close to your invalidation here, though. So say you're looking to get in a trade. 14, 15% drop to invalidation. Like, I'm just trying to see if there's any fractal off the chart that could be similar. Maybe you're working with something like that. You're looking for a pop after. Matt Fury is kind of fallen out of favor for narrative at the moment. Maybe it catches a rotation soon. I would look at what Pepe chart is doing. If Pepe chart is bullish, then I'd be thinking that this would be bullish. At the moment, though, daily bearish, large daily range. Attempting to hold a weekly level. It's a tough one. It could go either way. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. Convo. Ooh, this is seeing some sell-off. This is part of the virtuals protocol on base. Wow, it's seeing some aggressive sell-off. I have a bag of this, and I did not realize it has come down this far. I do think virtuals goes on to do well, but I think maybe it got overextended with that wormhole Luna token. But there's your H4 demand. If it loses this, not ideal. There's your H4 range. That's really what you have to work with. You can mark out this here. You really wouldn't want to see it down that low, though. What the hell is that? Come on. Come on. Come on. That's what you're working with. Oof. I'm going to have to monitor that and reassess my bag. Floyd AI. It's a choppy chart. Like I'm just looking to find where the actual structure is. This is H4. There's really not much to work off of daily and H12, so I'm just looking at H4 to see what we're doing. And to me, like, I mean, you want to talk about chop. Let's highlight how many times, right? Flip bullish. Flip bearish. Flip bullish. All within that tight consolidation. Like it keeps flipping bullish and bearish. So it's a tough one to get a true read on. Let's just, if I'm just saying I'm looking for the primary H4 range right now. What is my H4 range? This is your range low. This is your range high. There's my H4 demand. Why is this my H4 range? Well, because you had a close above here. It is a lot of chop though. And I don't have overconfidence that this is going to hold one way or the other, just given how much chop there's been. But you do have a thesis right there on H4. It made a higher high, looking for a higher low. The more attractive setup would be coming down into here on like daily, I think that is. Yeah, give me a daily sweep or an H12 sweep. Give me an H12 sweep. But on H4, that's what you're working with. Ow. Tucker Carlson's version or new version, like he gave up on Zins, had been an avid Zin user, and some political reason that he's switched and started his own brand. I don't know what is happening here, but let's fix this. Okay, I mean, that is a bullish looking chart. Start marking off some levels. Daily sweep though there, right? So then what do we look for? Well, first we'd look for this daily fair value gap with this previous swing level to provide support. You know, maybe that's what you're looking for. Your actual daily range is quite wide. There's your daily range. Here's the higher high break. Go down to H12. H12 was a shallower range, so you can work off that. There's a similar fair value gap. I think you're looking for this higher high break level to hold, though. I would suspect buyers to step in there. I know it's either the launch or there's some sort of announcement for November coming up with this. So it's obviously speculation into that. That level looks pretty good to me, though. I mean, I could fib this. I don't know how useful it's going to be on a chart like this, but Okay, well, the actual daily demand down here lines up with this pocket, and the swing low lines up with the 786. So if this fair value gap here fails, you're looking in here, but you're looking here first. I get questions sometimes like, when do I use a fair value gap? When do I use a breaker? When do I use an OB style supply or demand? Well, you're layering that, right? Like, especially with a wide range as big as that, we could even fib the range to see what's going on here. Well, pocket aligns with that fair value gap, but you're looking for where the next logical place buyers would step in is probability wise, right? Like, it's nothing is a guarantee. And we see so often that it wants to sweep a bottom of a range before going up, but you're looking for the next probable area where buyers would step in. And to me, a few things line up here. Yeah, so maybe it sweeps the bottom of this H4 range. Look at what aligns here, right? You got your H4 range there, the previous higher high breakout level with a daily fair value gap. Give me a sweep there if that's a trigger to go. Why did those move around? I guess ALP just got more volume than Floyd AI. Weifu or Weifu. Ooh. That is aggressive selling. What are we looking for here? Okay, well, we can maybe use this H12 demand. Swing lows all the way down here, though. Let's just mark that out. Maybe it's looking to come into there. It's a funky looking chart. And each pump is getting more and more aggressively sold into. But maybe sellers are starting to get exhausted, right? Like, there's a steep slope, and now it's starting to flatten. I think maybe if you come down into here, it's a tough chart to really get a read on because of how, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Okay, what you could say to yourself is, if I flip this H1 with a higher high, but you have to keep watching this, right? Because this could put in another lower low, and then you're looking to figure out what the H1 range is. Well, this is your H1 bearish range right now. This is your H1 bearish range. I know it's not the primary range, but you can't really do anything with that. So we're just going to have to go inter-range and just say, okay, this is my H1 bearish range. If I flip that with a higher high, then you got some sort of thesis. At the moment, it's just a slow bleed down. Ideally, you get something into the demand, but I don't know. It's tough to read, to be honest. Manifest. Another throwback coin. Throwback coin's getting some play. So look at that. Okay, so right off the bat, daily is bearish. Did it close above? Oh, okay. You had a daily. Oh, that's H12. No, let's go daily because this has enough chart history. I don't want to. Yeah, this is the more important time frame. And you can see how it ran right into that level on daily. There's your daily range high. There's your daily range low. It's a bearish range, although it gave you a daily sweep. Not much to get in off of though, because the candle closed up here, so you would have had to be monitoring on lower time frames. But, and why is daily bearish? Well, because this was the moment that it broke bearish. Closed below and tagged underside, right? And it keeps using that, right? But if you can flip this daily range bullish, then you have a reason. And I think your demand is going to be somewhere here. Not really much to go off at the moment. You need to wait for this daily candle to unfold. Rap dog. Quite a few streams back, maybe like 5 streams or so ago, this had broken H12 to bearish, and I said I think it cooked. Well, and people were like, oh, but like there's all these potential Binance listing and all these wallets linked to Binance are buying, and people are loading up, or market makers are loading up. Well, look at where we are now. That's why you look at structure on high time frame. It's even lost that level. Like if you're holding this and you were holding it from up here, like what was your thesis once it kept making lower lows, right? Like it's made a lot of them. It lost the meme line, broke structure, and has continued to break structure. If you're saying, okay, I think a bottom might be in, well, let's take a look and see what we've got. I think let's go to daily now because it has enough chart history, right? Trouble with daily is you've got this massive MEV wick. Can't really build a range off that. So let's go H12. I think what you're saying is if this H12 range, because H12 has been important, you can see why H12 was important so many times on this chart. We can say to ourselves, if H12 flips the range back to bullish, this is your bearish H12 range. You're saying, if I can get a higher high, then I'm looking to go long, to buy some sort of higher low into demand. We don't know where that is yet. We don't know if that's going to happen yet. Look at this trajectory here. I think, it attempted a sweep, gave you, buyers were like, okay, I want to step in here, but now it's coming back down. Maybe if it gives you another sweep, but there's better coins out there to play right now. Give me an H12 close above here. Yeah, you're missing a lot of that move, but you could look to buy demand somewhere and buy with the trend, because right now the trend is very clearly telling you, like, what is that? It's a slow walk down and then, right? I'm not saying it can't go up, but there needs to be things that happen. If this, then that. If that, then this. Not just I'm buying here because I think it's the bottom. Glorp. Hold on one sec. Okay. Galactic Spectator. Any other narratives that you are looking at? You kind of have to let the market to tell you that, right? Like the animal meta is kind of passed on. And it was getting a little ridiculous with brothers, sisters, cousins, cats, nephews, best friends, ex-girlfriends, goldfish, right? Like it was getting a little fucking ridiculous. And we can all agree that that's true. It doesn't mean animal coins can't come back. We got the Mudang listing the other day on Binance, which gave a temporary pop, although overall didn't do much for the animal sector. We're seeing here a bunch of culture coins have actually put in decent runs. I think AI is still the narrative, although it's starting to get very farmy and grasping. So you need to really isolate out ones that make a compelling case to be interesting and offering something new or exciting for people to speculate on. And you have to realize that it is just speculation, right? So it can turn out that the AI is fake. It can turn out that the dev is a dumbass. I mean, they may be incredibly intelligent for building these AI things, but when it comes to supporting a crypto asset and a community, the slightest little hint of them saying the wrong thing and price sells off, right? So you have to be aware of these things. So it's definitely a case of early or exit liquidity until it gives something proven. Any other narratives that I'm seeing at the moment? I mean, I'd love an AI Ponzi. That'd be kind of fun. We have ai16z, which did we even get to that as a request? I don't think we did. Maybe I'll add that in there, which is an AI fund that got interaction from Mark Andreessen, the true A16Z fund. It's like a AI16Z is an AI fund. And there's DGen AI, which is part of that as well. I mean, but these are all AI things. So I don't know yet, right? We have to let the market tell us where it wants to put its money and put its capital and what it finds interesting. We can't really predict that because, you could be really smart and predict something, but if it's a year away from coming to fruition, well, then that doesn't do you much good. You need to see what the market wants to do. And right now, the market is still very focused on AI. Hopefully that answers your question. The next 100 million runner will tell you where the market wants to focus its attention. Glorp. What is Glorp? Just Glorp. Okay. Well, it's got quite a bit of, okay, look at that. Weekly higher high. Let's mark out a couple of below. I'm not saying it's coming down here. I'm just marking them out. Just marking them out. Well, that level looks pretty important to me. Daily range is fairly wide. There's your daily range. It's holding this though, so you want to see this hold because if this starts to close below, because it's yet to have a daily close below that. If you get a daily close below there, then down here seems a lot more likely. But it's worth a gamble here because you're really close to your invalidation. You just have to be really watching to see what happens because start to get maybe like an H4 close below there. Oh, it's had a few and it's just chopping around. I mean, H4 is bearish. Yeah, H4 is bearish. Okay, so here's your H4 range. Oh. This is your H4 bearish range. But keep in mind everything else is bullish on it, right? Like weekly's bullish, daily's bullish on it. So like you're probably, this is a good place to bid, right? Because you're really close to where that version of this trade would be invalidated and then you look for lower. But this is a decent spot to bid, I'll be honest. And buyers are clearly defending. Some sort of space cat, I guess. Glorp. Okay. Oh, we're almost through. We're just over 2 hours. Amazing. Okay. Whoever requested LSD, I mean, are you looking to buy or are you asking like, should you still hold this coin? As soon as it lost that swing level, look at how that interact, right? Like that's a daily swing level. As soon as it lost it, sells off. Let's just define a range then. Let's like say, okay, sure, it's not looking great, but what is our range right now? Well, we could say that this is our range that it's working in. We have an inter-range swing level there, so maybe that might be important. Maybe if you get a sweep daily, you look to go back to the top of the range and maybe here, like maybe it just comes back up into here and sells again. I don't know. I think if you can get it, okay. I would be bullish on this if you get a daily close back above here. If daily recaptures that level, so let's call it 2 million. If daily closes back above 2 million, then I would get bullish on this. Until then, no. Also, like the whole Murad narrative has cooled quite a bit. Get a daily close back above 2 million, you can talk. But right now, that's a tough hold. Zen DAO. Here's a Ponzi. Not an AI Ponzi, but here's a Ponzi. Chop City. Chop City. I think this is your range you're working with. Yeah, I think that's your daily range you're working with. There's an inter-range swing level, maybe something to interact with there. I mean, you certainly don't want it to lose this level. Other than that, though, like there's not much to analyze on this. Okay, it's holding the 786. It lost it for a while, but it's holding it. You need to start seeing it put in some higher highs, though, on daily. H4 is a lot of chop. Like it's flip bearish, then bullish, then bearish, then bullish, then bullish. It's H4 bullish. Yeah. Okay. This is what we can work with. This is what we've got. This is all we can work with right now. Is this H4 demand? Loses this on H4, then H4 is back bearish, then that bottom of that daily level comes back into play. I don't know. I guess one to compare against is how's our APR doing right now? Is what I'd ask. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the RAPR chart. Oh, also old color bars. RAPR daily has gone bearish. So I think that Zen DAO is going to struggle because of it as well. Now this could be bottoming here. It looks like it's trying to bottom. But this is your bearish daily range on RAPR. Or Raper, as it's known, but you know. There's your daily bearish range. So I think Zen DAO is going to kind of take the lead from this coin. Sweep, maybe another sweep and it go, you know, it was triggered to go long. Let's take a look in the chat. Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Fantastic stream. It is my first, oh, welcome. First time viewer. Thank you so much for joining us. We try to do these at least once a week. I didn't get to one last week, but I'm going to try ramping them up because this 2+ hour streams, and maybe if I could branch them down into 2 90-minute streams per week would be better. Okay. CS Goer. I was hoping we could talk about the edge CE gives you and how you use it when a new meta starts, like the one we're living right now. We are living right now. I mean, ChainEDGE is incredibly powerful. Let me just follow up with some of your other questions, and then maybe we can do a little looking. I'm newish on Sol and have not been able to catch a single winner, even though I was watching all of them. Solana has a funny way of doing that. You see people making generational wealth all the time, many times daily, and yet you first move to Solana and you keep catching bad trades. It's kind of like the hazing that needs to take place once you first migrate to Solana. Is you need to go through a lot of losses first. One thing I would say is Solana loves to test bottom of the range, and narratives move fast. So you need to move. You need to be nimble, and you need to buy. You need to set your buying expectations lower, like way lower in the chart level than you would normally expect, especially if you're coming from somewhere like ETH, where ETH really respects levels in a different way. So the question is, did you catch any of the big winners? What were you looking at when you decided to ape a play rather than another? So with the AI narrative, I did catch some of them quite early, but these were narratives that were forming before that data quite got into ChainEDGE. But on Goat had been high on the attention dash, high in holdings, and from a stream 2 streams ago, I outlined the entry based off of ChainEDGE data and then my analysis on the chain on the chart, and that went on to go from a ridiculously low market cap to almost $1 billion. So yes, it does help quite a bit. I will run through some of the genital wealth. Okay. Thanks for that one, Hermit. We'd all love some genital wealth. I guess maybe I flubbed when I was saying generational wealth. ChainEDGE is very useful. Let's take a quick look. I'll switch screens. Like here's the attention dash. I will say this about the attention and holdings data when it's come to the AI narrative. It has moved so rapidly and has been dependent on output from devs, unlike regular meme coins, which don't require that kind of output. And there's also a lot of LLMs, AI bots, tweeting about these things in tickers that it's giving a lot of attention to them, that it has been a little bit harder to navigate using the attention and holdings data compared to other narratives. Because a token could have had very high attention score as well, be on the portfolio summary with a lot of holdings, and then it just dies off, and simply because something that the dev said or it turned out to be fake tech or whatever. Like there's a lot of nuance to this particular current meta, but it caught things like Goat really quickly. Shigen's been up here for a bit. It's done really well. ai16z has done really well. Act has done well. Like you have to take things in context and build a picture. Like Memes AI is doing really well right now. One of the stronger coins. What I like to do is I like to narrow it down. Either 5-day or 10-day to see what's standing out and catching my attention. Okay, so we can see some of the top hole. I mean, BAN was a coin that we looked at, and I don't know when this entered let's take a look. How long has this been here? Since, was that yesterday? It entered the attention dash on the 25th, which was 3 days ago. And then if we come over here onto the portfolio summary, I'll do the same filtering. Go up to 5-day-old tokens. Let's take a look. Okay, BAN doesn't have the highest amount, but it's got an amount of holdings that you could have said to yourself, okay, it's got attention and a decent chunk of holdings. And then if we come over here, let's take a look at BAN on the 25th. On the 25th, it was over here, right? Which is when it entered the attention dashboard. The 25th is here. So now you can't just take and blind buy anything, but I mean, there was some confluence of data there. Now it's number 2 on the attention dash currently for tokens sub 5-day. Holdings have come down a little bit. We can see that they've sold 13%, not too heavy, but they've sold 13%, but it's still maintaining quite a bit. It's got 30 mil of daily 24-hour volume, not just amongst smart money, but in the market, pretty high. And then we come back over to the chart and we can say, okay, as we analyzed earlier, we're looking for a bottom to form. Well, this is probably one with a decent chance of at least some sort of bounce. I don't know how long this narrative lasts for this particular one, given that it's about the what is the official story on this? No team is work. It's a CTO. I mean, is the narrative going to continue on this? I don't know, but you are looking for some sort of higher low here. And as I pointed out on the 25th, price was around 1 million, give or take, and it ran to 65 million. So like, yeah, that's hindsight and not overly useful to you in this moment because that's hindsight. Too tall. What's good, buddy? Thanks for showing up. Good to see you. My good buddy Too Tall in the house, Mr. Too Tall. But let's take a look at some. Actually, let's pop over to this page and take a look. So ai16z has 580K of smart money holdings. Kira has 260K of smart money holdings. So maybe those are two we'll look at because look, we can see they're accumulating on ai16z and on Kira. And if we pop back over here, Kira is top of the sub 5-day attention dash. ai16z is pretty high up as well. So then if we come over here, let me grab the CA for Kira. I'll grab the CA for Kira and I'll grab the CA for ai16z. And then we can take a look at both of those and see if we can formulate a trade thesis based off of the data and correlate that to finding a setup on the chart. Okay, let's start with Kira. Here we go. Oh, love to hear that. I've been seeing so many people talk about Wrap's way of trading that they're starting to adopt. Amazing to see. Well, we're putting out consistency and showing that it's a repeatable system that gives high probabilities. So I'm very appreciative that it's starting to catch on and people are starting to take notice. Also give thanks to all of the traders before that I learned from that have helped me develop my system by learning from them. But the more people see that it works, the more people will look to adapt it. Okay, so Kira, super high on the attention dash for sub 5 day. It's #1 spot. Holdings also fairly good, being over 200K, 267K. What I'm doing is I'm just looking down time frames to find where I've got structure to base a trade around. One thing that's difficult about this one is like you don't really have structure until M15. Yeah, you don't have structure until M15. And it had actually broken bearish on M15, but it's since regained. This is one of those instances, though, with these AI plays that it had a big run up and then does the attention shift, even though it's on top of the attention dash at the moment, does the attention shift and focus moves away from that coin. It has been a more difficult sector to play off of the data, I will say that. But as in terms of discovery, it's been quite spot on. And I mean, I love ChainEDGE data. It is thorough and shows you in real time where capital is being deployed. The Alpha Stream is a wonderful tool for discovery. For a little while on Solana, it hadn't been as great, but I think we've added a lot more wallets, and the discovery on the Alpha Stream has been quite good recently as we've expanded our abilities on Solana. Okay, so what am I looking at here? So as I said, M15 had broken bearish, but it's actually bullish now. I don't know if this will hold, but this is your M15 range that is that is bullish. And like I said, M15 is really the only time frame that has a structure we can really work with. So the fact that it has been chopping, it went bearish and has now regained bullish, you're looking for this to hold. This is your M15 range. This is your M15 demand. It's holding a previous breakout level. Maybe we can throw a fib up and see what we've got. Looks like it's probably this at the golden pocket. Yeah, it's at the pocket. I mean, once you've done this long enough, you can just eyeball and say, okay, it's probably at the pocket. You know, I've looked at charts long enough that I can approximate. So you've got a lot of things going on there. Does it want to tag the 786? I have no idea. But for now, your trade is this M15 setup. Maybe it sweeps that. But there's a setup. I'm not telling you, CS goer, that you should just take this trade blindly and it's going to work out for you. I'm just showing you ways to use the data. And then taking that data and looking for a reason to trade it on the chart, right? Like you can't just blind bid any information from ChainEDGE. I think that's the easiest way to lose a lot of money. You need to take that data and develop a system around it. We're not a signal service by any means at ChainEDGE. We're just showing you where the money is flowing, where the capital is flowing in real time. So you had to then take that and do with it as you want. And what I do is I base it off of the chart. But there is a setup here. There is a setup here. What was the other one? AI16z, also fairly high on attention. And the second highest holdings for sub 5-day tokens. Now, I don't love that it's lost 2 key swing levels. And realistically, and this is H1, mind you, right? Like, let's see, is it holding this H4 fair value gap or has it lost it? It's closed below. So it's looking a little bit weak here. The thing is, money is rotating so fast right now in these AI plays and new information affects so much on them. It's not like a meme, like, yeah, a lot of these are memes, but it's not like a meme where all that you're really dependent on is the community. What you're relying on with these is output, right? It's like getting a little bit back to the utility days, but with super heavy, like the speculation level is cranked up. And the rotations are cranked up because it is Solana, right? Solana moves quick. I mean, I think you have if H4, like you got an H4 sweep here, but then you've had some selling through that. So it's tough to say on this one, whether you gamble here with your invalidation being a close below there. Like I'm not trying to, CS score, I'm not trying to tell you to take these trades and then they fail and then you're like over it. You're like, fuck, I can't do this, because Solana does take a learning curve. It took me a while. I was shit at it for the longest time, but then I regrouped. I looked at the way I was doing analysis on these coins and shifted and adapted them to be more suitable to Solana. Like this is part of the game. You have to adapt to the environment. And people do print generational wealth on Solana daily. So it's not that it's not doable and it's impossible. You just have to adapt the way that you look at things and shift and be really on top of it. Like it's not really the chain where you put on a position and then go to bed and check them 2 days later. No, it really isn't. Until it's older and has enough chart history and whatnot, you really need to be on top of these coins. Let's see. Thanks a lot for your answer. Clears things up a little bit. Additional question. Since the beginning of the meta, did you act upon TG portfolio alerts or did you wait for the token to live a bit more? A lot of the information for the AI meta was from being in private group chats, I'll be honest. And Those are some of the, like, if you get involved in quality group chats, it's really a very big plus to have like-minded individuals with various skill sets scouring for plays and recognizing a narrative early and diving in and doing research to figure out how to use it to your advantage. ChainEDGE played a factor after the fact, and I'll be open and honest. Like, I took a few trades based off of attention data and holdings data in this AI meta with setups that looked good, and they failed. And the primary reason being just either the team did something that fucked up, or there was insider selling. Like, there's a few different factors, but I took a few that didn't go well. So I regrouped and I kind of eased off on the data for a little while, because I think in this current narrative, it is moving so fast that, you know, attention data is a little bit lagging. So what might be at the top of the attention score right now, later this evening, it may not. It's like the rotations have kicked into hyperdrive. So I'll be completely honest. Like, I use ChainEDGE data daily, and I love the platform and the information, but I got burnt a few times in the last week or two, and all the ingredients were there for what has historically worked using the data, the holdings data, the attention data, plus it being into a setup that made sense to me based off of my analysis. So things are going to go against you sometimes, and you just have to be quick. And that's why one of the things that I teach, that I try to relay to you guys, is entries matter a lot, and you want to get in your entry as close to invalidation as possible, so you stand to lose the most. But then also, when you lose your level, if you're invalidated, you have to fucking cut, and you have to be ready to cut, and not just think, oh, maybe that was just a small, like, little deviation and it's going to come back up, and then the next thing you know, you're down another 50%, right? So there are going to be times where you cut and then it skyrockets, and that's going to hurt or suck, but that's just part of the game. And there's always a way to get back on board, especially if you regain bullish structure. And he goes on to say, don't worry, I'm not taking any trades anymore. I just want to get better on SOL. And while you're asking how to combine CE and TA, well, what you should do is go join the AFM TG group, because we look at the data as well as do this style of analysis that I do, and also join the ChainEDGE Discord. Great group of people on there. I'm in there as well, although I've been a little less frequent since I've been more focused on the AFM stuff. But I would recommend becoming a member of both. Next up, getting invited to quality private groups. Yeah, it's a massive leg up. I'm not going to sugarcoat or lie about that. Being in some high quality group chats it can be game changing. It takes time. You have to, like, a little over a year ago, I was more of a lone wolf, and I decided to completely change my approach to crypto and started on the journey to making more on-chain friends, building my network, started doing the reply guy thing, then started getting invited into groups, and then, you slowly, as you provide value, like, you can't just be useless reply guy. It needs to be you providing some level of value. I jumped on a couple spaces, and the next thing you know, I'm started getting invited into groups. And then that, you ladder up, like, just like you want bullish stair-stepping continuation. Well, you want the same thing to happen in your journey to private group chat discovery, is you want bullish stair-stepping continuation. So I leveraged my abilities and provided value, not looking to extract anything, but to connect and learn and provide. And that's landed me in some great places. So it's part of the journey. Okay, we're almost at 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm just going to scroll back up through the chat, because I know that someone had asked for a coin or two. Let me just see what there was. Because I'll pop them in quickly. We might as well. We're almost at 3 hours. Fuck it. Let's just go to the 3 hour distance. Okay. What were the requests? Okay, Rune and Megs. Let's take a quick look. And I mean, look, this is testing this level here, so we shall see. Rune. Is it this Rune AI? Oh, and Megs. I remember that one from before. I feel like that was one of the ones that I took a setup on based off of data, and it bit me in the ass. Let's take a look now. I'm assuming it's this one with the highest volume. And then I think there was one other request, robot. And then I think we'll call that the day, robot. I have no idea which robot you mean. Anime Express, if you're still watching, I have no idea what robot you mean. So either provide clarity ASAP while I'm doing this, or I just is the one with $2,000 volume. Like, I'm going to venture to say it's none of these, and it's a waste of time. So if you can provide clarity, but I think it's probably a waste of time. Not your question is a waste of time, just the token is a waste of time. What did I just add? I added Rune and Megs. Okay, let's take a look at Rune. Not really much to work with. It looks like it caught a hot narrative real quick and then sold off. I believe I was looking at this one 2 days ago. AI account made by OpenAI, which is starting to get saturated, right? Like, how many accounts launched by this AI can the market support? I mean, you're looking for this area on H4 to hold. Yeah, you're looking for this to hold. There's your H4 swing low. There's your massive wick H4 swing high. I don't know. What do you maybe if it tags that level around 230K. I don't really know what to say about this. It's clearly obviously a blip of momentary attention. And Megs. Yeah, I lost money on this one. Here's an example of one that had high attention data, decent holdings data, and here we are. It doesn't look pretty. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say other than it doesn't look pretty. H4 has been a lot of chop, but like, yeah, there's been trades there. If you're willing to take that gamble and you good reward, right? Like, if you bought somewhere down here, like the sweep, let's say you bought that sweep there, right? You bought the sweeps, you bought somewhere here. Look at that, you had almost 800% move. So there's trades to be had there. It's just you're trading against the trend and against the market. But your risk reward down there was really good, right? So like if you're looking at this now, what is even your range? Well, here. It's a bearish range. Gave you a sweep entry right there. But right now, like, I don't know. You need to either just gamble dead by the blows and hold and hope hope you wake up to a nice surprise, or wait for some sort of bullish flip. It's just I don't even really know where would you be looking for that? I would call this whole area supply. Well, all of this is supply as well. Like, look at this. you had a lot of people buy this that are very underwater, and look at exactly where they sell. They're like, oh, I'm only underwater 70%, so I'm going to buy there or sell there, right? Like, you have to think people bought this here, and some people are still holding down 95%. So psychologically, they're going to look to exit as wherever they can, right? Okay, let's take a look. Are there any other questions? If not, let me remove this. If not, then I think we will wrap up. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up. There's still 15 of you here with me live, troopers. I think we had at one point over 30, so that's quite impressive, and I appreciate the growth that we've been seeing. Let me pop up some of the stuff. Don't forget to go to thedailyedge.com/subscribe, your daily newsletter featuring insights, intel, and actionable information written by the one and only on-chain wizard. The show is brought to you by the Daily Edge and also by ChainEDGE, the sister company to the Daily Edge, our on-chain data analytics platform tracking the top 0.01% of DEX wallets by profitability, where you can watch the real-time flows as they're happening on chain, where capital is being placed, where the narratives are hot, where attention is, where they're holding their capital. Smart Twitter follows. Like, we've got a lot going on. I would highly recommend going to check it out. And if you were interested in subscribing, in the description below, there's links, and there's a ref link or a ref code to get yourself 10% off your lifetime membership fees to ChainEDGE. Also in the description, you'll find links to the Daily Edge Twitter account or the Daily Edge X account, my X account, On-Chain Wizards X account, the Daily Edge Telegram channel, the Astrology For Men Telegram group, links to ChainEDGE, links to our Daily Edge YouTube, all the fun links and stuff like that. And also, if you're looking for a new trading terminal experience, consider using my BullX ref link. It's not an official affiliation or partnership. It's just my personal ref link that when you use gets you 10% off your fees and gives me a tiny little kickback, which helps me continue putting on these shows. The platform is great, especially for new pairs on Solana. Really great for scalping. It has lots of really cool features like laddered automatic sell strategies. So you buy a coin and it can set your stop loss and your take profit strategies immediately without you having to go and place them yourself, which is great when you're taking these new launch gambles on Solana. Put yourself a minus 50% stop and a plus 110%, 50% cut to pull out your initials and let the rest ride, or you can add a bunch of different layered sell strategies within one click. So definitely something to check out if you're more inclined to the new launches. Even great, like say you're taking our portfolio alerts from ChainEDGE and you're running the 786 strategy, which has become quite popular amongst the ChainEDGE Discord. You throw your fib up, you find your 786, you set a limit order, and then you set your automatic sell strategy with a very tight stop loss of say 30%, because you know when you're at your 786, if you're starting to lose that, you're looking rough. So you set it with 30% for any sweeps or wicks, and then do a layered approach. Like say you notice, okay, most of these are hitting like 110, 150%. Well, then you set a limit order sell and you sell maybe all of it or 75% of it. So you capture your initials plus some profit. And then if it decides to keep ripping, then you are riding that trend and not sold out of all of it. And you don't miss out on a massive move. Different ways you can set strategies. So would recommend. It does help support me a little bit. So there is a link in the description for my BullX ref link. Also, friendly reminder to like, subscribe, and comment on this YouTube page. It really helps the channel grow, helps let me know that this is a valuable show and to keep doing them, because we do want to grow the group, grow the community, grow the channel. So really do appreciate it. And on that, let me just check the comments real quick. See if I'm missing anything. Got some more. Kim says, thank you so much. Thank you, Kim. I do appreciate you've been a regular amongst the streams and in the AFM TG group since you've found us a few weeks ago, and we do appreciate you. Sam says, thank you, Rob. Thank you, Sam, for being here. Alan, thank you. Thank you. Jaguar Cat, thank you as always, friend. And Galactic Spectator says, thank you, Rob. Have a great day. And Moonar, my buddy Moonar. Thanks, Chief. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I appreciate each and every one of you in the AFM TG group. It's really grown into a beautiful community. And on that, I'm going to sign off. Until next time, catch you in the TG. Ciao.